Hello, this is Todd Shank from Premier FPL. Today I'm going to be doing a video on how to use WhoScored for finding Premier League statistics. One of the first places that I usually go whenever I'm doing research, whether it's for doing my weekly predictions or doing fantasy team setup, FPL tips, anything like that, is to WhoScored.com. I find that they have some of the best selection of statistics out there, um, and it is a great way to um, really be able to dive deep into the various statistics. So this is the Premier League page for WhoScored.com. As you can see, it has kind of the upcoming fixtures, has the table, top teams set up based on a lot of this is also based on some of their own algorithms. As you can see, they have their own rating system. The top players, various other statistics, as well as their best team for each week based on their algorithm of ratings. Nice thing about their table is it is sortable. Can go based on any of these statistics here, as well as being able to be sorted by form. You can go over streaks, who has the most wins in a row, etc. Clean sheet streaks, kind of the progress of how teams have been looking, and then also being able to set up custom dates to see how teams have been doing over a period of time. This is one that I actually haven't used a whole lot, but I definitely think it is helpful as a tool to look at how teams have been doing over a course of a longer period of time. All right, so that's kind of the basic layout of the front page for the Premier League. You can also scroll through the fixtures, be able to click on the actual fixtures and bring up a whole list. You can go back in time, look forward, see what's coming up as well. That's also up here, and they have a very nice little box here. If you wanted to go into other leagues, they do have just about every league out there. Additional tools are available up here, but I'm just going to be focusing on the Premier League page itself. I do like some of their top facts for matches coming up as well. All right, so moving on. One of the areas that I guess the first place that I want to look at is the team statistics. We'll go to team statistics here. This is a great way to look at kind of across the board how teams are doing. You can sort by home, away, overall, get the basic shots per game, possession, pass, aerials won. Get a nice, kind of basic summary layout here. If you want to look at some of the additional situational statistics, this is a great place to go. Open play, you can see Man City here, 29 goals from open play. You can also break it down by how teams are being scored against. Look at home and away. Again, very nice way to look at situational statistics. How teams are getting their goals, nice thing. And any cards, if you want to look at that, which teams do have the most cards this season. Positional statistics are very nice for trying to see where teams are doing the most of their attacks. Again, I really like how you can break it down overall, home and away. This is kind of looking at the attack sides. You can look at the shot direction, so where teams are taking their shots from, the zones that they're getting their shots in, as well as action zones, so where are they playing the most during matches. And again, these are all sortable categories. Clicking on it the first time will break it down by high to low. Clicking on it again will break it down low to high. All right, so going back up here to the team statistics. Nice thing here, again, all of these you can break them down even further for overall, home, and away. So for defensive, you can look at how many shots per game they're giving up, tackles per game that they are getting in, interceptions, fouls, and offsides. If you want to look at their rating, you can break it down based on their rating. I I usually don't look at rating as much as the actual statistics themselves. Going further, we do have the offensive statistics as well. How many shots, shots on target, dribbles, and fouled. And this is a good way to look at how teams are playing in terms of like the team as a whole rather than individual players. Again, this is one of the best parts that I really like. They have all of these categories that you can break it down even further as far as defensive statistics go, offensive statistics, passing. So defensive, you have tackles, interceptions, fouls, cards, offsides, clearances, blocks, saves. Offensive is shots, goals, dribbles, possession loss, aerial, duels, passes, key passes, and assists. If you want to go even further, you can also look at how these goals are being scored. So this would be shots here. Shots based on zones, based on situations, accuracy, and body parts. The one thing to look at here is not all of these subcategories are going to be the same, but you can always look at the number of minutes, and they have a little slider here, so just be careful with that. That you can move. You can look at it also for each statistic, whether it's per game, per 90 minutes. You can set a number of minutes, so that's where the little sliding tool comes into play, or even look at the total. So I really do like to look at the detailed statistics if I'm breaking things down a little bit further. All right, now this is the one thing that I think is very handy. So some of these team statistics are good if you're doing like the English Premier League predictions, looking more at maybe some of the betting situations. You want to look at a whole team perspective. That would be a better place to go. If you're doing more of the like FPL stats, getting into more of the Premier League fantasy sort of things, then looking at player statistics is the place to go. Again, that's mainly sorted by rating when you first open it up, but you can go ahead and go in and break things down based on any of these summary statistics here. There are also filters that you can go through based on a minimum number of appearances or all players, and again at home and away overall. All right, defensively, the main things here are like tackles, interceptions, fouls, offsides, clearances, dribbles, blocks, and own goals. So this is more of a way to break down your defensive players and see where they're at. Offensive players, goals, assists, shots per game, key passes. Again, this section here is all set up as a per game basis. So shots per game, key passes, dribbles, fouled, so how often they're fouled, how often they're offsides, dispossessed, and then the final one here is bad control per game. As you can see, they do have, down here at the bottom, they do have the legend of how things are broken up, since it is abbreviated up here at the top. Passing statistics, again, very nice thing to look at to see what teams are, how players are creating things. A lot of Man City players here at the top, obviously. Assists, key passes, average passes per game, passing success percentage, crosses, long balls, and then through balls as well, which is a very interesting one to look at to see who's really doing a little bit more of the creativity, because it doesn't always result in a key pass, but it could become a key pass depending on where it is played. Now, coming to the detailed section, this is one that I really like to dive into. The nice thing here is that you can break it down based on how many appearances, especially when you get later on into the season. You might have a guy who's just coming in, and you could set it to be whatever you want it to be. So right now, Pogba has only played 4 times this season. Maybe you want to just set it at 4 to see who's near him, because later on in the season, if you have it set to minimum appearances, something like that won't show up. You can also look at it based on just specific positions. Maybe you just want to look at some of the attacking midfielders and see what they're looking like for the season. Maybe you want to filter it out. Sorry, hit reset. Reset will clear all of what you have. So if you just want to look at the attacking midfielders, that'll bring up who they, and now some of this is based on their own data and who is playing in specific positions through the season. You can also look at ages. So if you're trying to find like a really young player who's playing up front, Tom Davis is the only one that comes up. So again, interesting ways that you can set things up. 90 minutes, and again, per game, per 90, every so many minutes that you want to set it at, or totals. I'm going to go ahead and reset this. So again, all of the same categories you have under team statistics, but it's a really good way if you really want to look at breaking things down, really narrowing your search. You want to look at who is taking the most shots. Say you want to see who's getting the most shots in the penalty area. Harry Kane comes up, Romelu Lukaku second here. Again, this is a total here. So say you want to just see who is getting the most in the penalty area on average per 90 minutes. And that'll break it down even further because sometimes you get players who don't play all the time. So here, Mitrovic has only played 30 minutes. So her per 90 average is going to be up a little bit higher. And you could even break it down so that, say you want to make sure it's somebody who has played more than 6 matches this season. That gives you a little bit of a better idea of what's going on with some of these players. So yeah, that's kind of the breakdown of the overall look at how to use WhoScored. Another nice thing they have here that I do like to see is the assist to goal scorer. Goal scorer Morata, assisted by Azpilicueta. I did hear that statistic recently this week that Azpilicueta, with his 5 assists, to Morata this season, and that was something that was known by Manchester United, but somehow still managed to let that slip in there. So that's kind of the breakdown of how to use WhoScored.com. Like I said, it is a great way to look for fantasy Premier League stats. Good way for you to help set up your FPL team by looking through a lot of these statistics and seeing which players you want to look at, what specific teams you might want to look at. Again, looking at the form here, you could maybe look at, maybe you want to look at bringing in some Brighton players, but at the same time, being able to go in and look at their upcoming fixtures. So, actually, the last thing that I do want to look at here are the match day statistics. So we're going to go, let's check the Manchester City and Arsenal match from last week. Their match center, all of their match day tools are great. You can see kind of the breakdown of the timeline here. It automatically comes up at the match center. If you wanted to look at, so earlier on, you'll get the preview. Actually, I'll go back and check one of those later here. Head-to-head, kind of look at what some of the statistics are for their head-to-head. Anyway, so looking at the match center, this is something that I really like to play around with. There are a ton of statistics here that if you really want to dive deep into a team, see how they're doing, you can go into each match, look through what is going on. Obviously, they want to push their rating, so that's the first thing that comes up. But you can look at total shots, and then breaking it down even further, they go so far as even have how many shots have hit the woodwork, shots that are blocked, possession statistics, passing success, dribbles during a game. You can even look at the match commentary if you really want to dig through that. The chalkboard is one that I really find helpful. It actually shows you where each shot was taken during a match. It shows you all of the passes on the pitch, where the dribbles were, where all the tackles were. If you just want to look at how Sterling did during a match, you can see I would say the one negative here is when you switch around between each statistics. Say you wanted to look at Sterling, as soon as you switch to a new statistic, you have to recheck Sterling to see where he's at. Going back in, have to select Sterling again. So that's kind of clunky the way it is, but you can also, it's a good way to kind of compare. You want to go in and see how Ozil and Fernandinho did with clearances. Not really a very helpful statistic, but you can do it if you want to. Might be better to look at Coquelin or Bellerin, see how they're doing. Yeah, so I do really like to look at this. I've gone back in with some teams and gone over full statistics with players over a course of several matches, so this is a nice way to be able to do that. The last thing in here that I also really like are the heat maps. You want to see where a specific player has been playing. And again, you can go back over a course of several matches and see generally where they're playing. And that's a really nice tool to be able to look at. Say you want to see kind of where several players are linking up, if they're near each other in each other's zones, or if they're kind of spread out a little bit more here. You also have the match report, which kind of breaks down situations, again, shots, goals. If you want to look at where they're attacking from, where their shot directions are, shot zones, action zones, this is all based on a per match basis. Very nice tool to be able to break things down. All right, I'm going to go back here and we'll look at, so this coming weekend, this next weekend, November 18th, we have Arsenal versus Tottenham. When you go to the pre-match pages like this, it gives you some of these quick match facts here. You have the previous meetings between teams, see how they have done across the various competitions, where they're at in the table, what their form is, what their streaks are, some of their top players based on their ratings, as well as their past fixtures. Home, away, you can sort by Premier League or all. The thing is, it's only going to show you their most recent 6 matches here. So if you just want to see Premier League, it's only going to show you the last however many Premier League matches they have played within the last 6 matches. So that's a little bit frustrating, but still, that's the way it is. I also do like their characteristics, show their strengths and weaknesses. Again, this is all based on their data, setting up their own algorithms to see, how often these various things are occurring within matches. But it is nice that that's kind of laid out there for you. And again, you can go in, look at team statistics as well as the player statistics, and you can break down. If you just want to look at the statistics between the players on each of these 2 teams, you can do it that way. They do have a betting thing here, so if you're into doing, betting, they have the breakdown of various bookmakers, various other statistics. I don't do much betting, so it's not quite as helpful for me, but if you're into that, that is a very helpful thing. I would say the one con that I have with this is, when I'm doing a whole lot of research on things, I like to open up multiple browsers here. And that's great. I can flip back and forth between different browsers, be able to jump around. But the problem is that it times out very frequently. And that can get very annoying if I'm in the middle of, say I'm typing up an article or something, and it's been a couple minutes since I've been over here on WhoScored. I go back in, so say I go back in here to the player statistics, and if you go back in and you try to click on one of these links, it's not going to work. I don't know, they probably have something set up in their system so that it's not chewing up a whole bunch of their data, just having people sit on the page. But it is still annoying having to refresh and go back in, because oftentimes when you refresh, it starts it all over again. So you may have had it set up on assists here. As soon as you refresh, goes back to the summary, and you have to go back in and select wherever you are at. So it's overall, I mean, it's a minor annoyance, but it can get annoying at times when I'm really trying to dig through a lot of data on here. But I mean, again, it's a free service, and I really appreciate having it available. So I'm not going to complain too much more about that. Yeah, so that kind of wraps up how to use WhoScored if you're looking for Premier League statistics. It's a great way to, like I said, find information for predictions, get some more statistics, being able to find the Premier League statistics to help with your FPL team. Like I said, I use it a lot. Anyway, so that wraps this up. I am still planning to put out, I'll probably do a preview video, hopefully sometime this weekend, getting ready for game week 12 coming up next weekend, and then do my tips again later on during the week. So thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate you coming by. If you're coming by later on during the year, then you can ignore the game week 12 stuff, and I do appreciate having you subscribe to the channel here. You can follow me on Twitter at Premier FPL, and you can also find all of my writing at PremierFPL.com, as well as I do my predictions on PremierSoccerChat.com, and I do write occasionally for Taga, PlayTaga.com, doing their fantasy Premier League stuff. So thanks for coming by. Good luck and have fun.